Welcome to this week's Monday Match Points. We have the whole group with us today, winding down the season, and just have a few things that we want to touch on before we start postseason play next week. For me, what I would like to address is glitter in the hair of athletes, and that's something that's come up multiple times throughout the season. Seems to be coming up more towards the end of the season. This was something that was covered at the coaches clinic in-person meeting. It was something that's in the online rules meeting. There's a full slide directed towards that information. And so just a reminder, both for coaches and officials, but specifically for coaches, that glitter in the hair of our players is illegal equipment. It's not allowed. If you have a team that shows up with glitter in their hair, officials are going to ask that it be removed, which we understand is difficult to do, especially if you're trying to have teenage girls wash their hair moments before a match starts. I understand that that's a problem. So if that's not able to happen, where the glitter is not able to be removed, the penalty will be enforced as it's stated in the rule book, which is a loss of rally, and so your opponent will start the matchup 1-0. So, and officials, you're within your reason. If that has happened, where glitter is in the hair, you need to have that conversation with the coach, give them their options to either remove it or start that match down 1-0. And then the coach needs to have that conversation with the athletes on how they're going to move forward. So hopefully that's about as clear as I can make it when it comes to glitter in the hair. In terms of another reminder for coaches in regards to roster size for the postseason and kind of how that works, the postseason roster limit is 14 athletes. So when you submit your district roster, which are due on the NSAA website today, you submit your 14 that you're going to have be a part of your sub-district or your district roster. For those teams that advance to the next round of the postseason, so if you're in classes C1, C2, D1, or D2, that would be your district final. If you advance to a district final, you have the ability to modify that roster for that next round of the postseason. For classes A and B, the same would hold true for you. If you qualify for the state tournament, you can make a change from your district roster to your state roster. And then again, our classes C1, C2, D1, D2, if you move on from a district final to the state tournament, then you can modify your roster again. So, but again, it's 14 individuals that can be listed in the book on your lineup that take part in warmups as active participants of the team, and it's 14 for each round of the postseason. So, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ken.
Thanks, Jeff. What I want to talk to is kind of particularly to officials. It's an exciting time of the year, and the crowds are going to be bigger. The intensity is going to be higher. Make sure those whistles are loud and clear. But the word I want to talk about is communicate. Communicate. R1s and R2 communicate with each other. R1s, I think Kim covered it last week of things that you can do in pre-match and things, but R2s communicate pre-match. Talk to your official bench. Even if the lines or even if the official score has kept book for years, you still communicate with them and with the Libro tracker. And just make sure that they're aware that you want to confirm every time the number of timeouts used, so everybody's on the same page, that the score is what's on the scoreboard up above. If it's different, we take what's official in the book. Make sure that the scorekeeper is aware that to give you 15 subs, 16 subs, so that your R2, you can give that information to the coaches. If your bench does not feed you that information, be aware where you are in the match. Some teams substitute a lot. And so you might be asking, and they might say, oh, we're only at 12. Okay, that's fine. Just be aware of where you are in the match. And so you can communicate that information. The rule change that happened a couple years ago, you might remind the scorer, don't sound the horn until after the ball is dead if they think it's the wrong server. And that's kind of a change. So if you have somebody who's been running the horn for years and years, make sure that we don't stop that play until afterward. So just run through some of those things pre-match. It will really serve you well during the match. And the other thing, communicate with the coaches. Be sure, and as you are away, sweep back and look at both benches. Be aware where you are in the match. You can sometimes anticipate when they might call a timeout or when the next sub's coming in. It serves you well to be engaged in that match and to communicate with those coaches during a dead ball. If they approach during a live ball, simply sweep them back and wait until the ball is dead. but communication is my key word that I want to pass on to you today. With that, I'll give it to Kim.
Right. I just want to add on as an R2, the lineup cards. I know they need to be submitted. It's 1 minute, right, before the play begins. And so, once that's submitted, you go the scorebook again, communicate with your scorebook, making sure all the numbers are there. But when the second set starts, normally I walk the roster or lineup card back to the coach. And if they say same, you can just take that same sheet and take it back to the score book and say it's the same. The coach does not need to touch it or any of that. It's just, yeah, if they say same, you move on and communicate that to your scorebook and Libero tracker. Um, I think that's all I have.
And one thing I'd like to add to that too is one thing when you do get the lineup card, always make sure there's a captain on there. And if there is no libero, for example, go ask them. And
Right.
also make sure that there's not duplicate numbers. So it's just kind of preventive officiating that we all could do beforehand to make sure that we don't have issues during the match.
Yes, perfect.
All right. Well, a couple other just quick reminders before we sign off today. Um, for our officials, we did post sub-district and district officiating contracts last week. Appreciate everybody that applied and everybody that went ahead and accepted those contracts. I hope, excuse me, I hope to be able to offer contracts, both line judging and officiating contracts for the state tournament. I hope to do that this weekend. I just have to have time to be able to sit down and organize that big puzzle together. So look for that potentially this weekend. And then also for our coaches, a reminder on sub-district and district seating. That is 4 matches through Tuesday night. So your matches that you play tonight on Monday and tomorrow on Tuesday will count and factor in towards sub-district and district seating. We will go through the seeding process on Wednesday, making sure that we have all of our scores, our matches, our out-of-state opponents' records are updated. We'll do all of that on Wednesday. I'll go through that entire seeding process probably late in the afternoon on Wednesday, and then Thursday morning is when we will post brackets to our website. So again, look for that information as the week goes on. Again, our officials, especially those that are working in Class A and B, where we have no idea where those matches will be geographically. Be on the lookout for me to potentially change the location or the district number of where you might be working if you have a postseason assignment. Don't be alert, don't be worried that that's happening. It's just things I have to do to move you to where we actually want you and need you to work. So with that, I appreciate everybody taking some time to watch this week, and we will see you next time.